Hey, welcome to JB Outdoors. Today we're in the kitchen.
We're in the kitchen with JB Outdoors. Man, Jeff, our second big processing time in the kitchen. Really excited about it. For those of us who check out our social media, you know we just had 2 deer hanging in the cooler. Our good friend JT had a deer. I know you were able to collect one. So we've got 4 deer we're processing in this go around, which has so far been our biggest process of the year.
It's going to be a job, but my mouth is watering.
That's right. We've got 2 of these great big meat lugs completely packed full of deer meat. The recipe for tonight, Jeff?
I think we should make some snack sticks. Get big on snack sticks. I was kind of thinking about maybe some Tex-Mex, some pepperoni snack sticks.
Yeah, you gotta add jalapeno cheese.
Some summer sausage, jalapeno cheese for all of it.
Let's do that. So while we're in the kitchen today, y'all follow along with us because we've been asked about, how we make all this magic happen in the kitchen. And today we'll show you how we grind up and we prepare to make snack sticks and summer sausage. So we hope you learn something today in the kitchen with us. All right, so before we get ready to start digging in deep into the sausage part and stuffing the snack sticks and the summer sausage, one secret ingredient that we use, it's not really secret, but you gotta understand the venison meat is a really lean cut of meat. So we take regular pork fat and we cut it up into strips and we're gonna grind that out. And when we grind that out, we'll take that pork fat and we're gonna mix it after we weigh our cut venison and ground venison, and we'll mix that in so we have a great ratio, probably a 20 to 25% ratio, fat ratio to lean meat ratio, and that'll really help the product not only keep it moist, but it does give it a great flavor too.
Keep this party going. When the gel pack's cold, you got to keep the grinder running. Alright, so we're grinding up all the deer meat now. The pork fat has been ground. We estimate we've probably got 50 to 60 pounds of deer meat. We had around 18 to 20 pounds of pork fat. We'll measure this all out before we start mixing seasonings in. But we're going to run through all the deer meat here, and you can see on the Cabela's Carnivore Meat Grinder, we're using the gel pack, the ice pack that goes around the grinder head there, and you can see it's nice and frosty. It's keeping everything nice and cold. They do sell that as an extra accessory. It does come with one. If you're going to be grinding all day, maybe get an extra one. You can rotate them in and out of the freezer. But we anticipate being able to get through everything once, maybe twice, before we have to put it back in the freezer. But you can see it there, it's nice and frosty and cold, doing its job.
All right, Jeff, so we're ready. We've got a good start here. We still got some more venison and some fat to put in, but we've got our Tex-Mex seasoning. This will be for 25 pounds, so we're gonna start mixing some of this in. Trying to get that going there. Now this right here is the cure. This kind of helps it all come together. This is actually specifically measured. We're just adding a little bit in at the time while Jeff continues to mix up the powder.
So I'm just going to get a hot bite of those chunks. Alright, Jay, let's add a little bit more meat to it. Alright, so we always like to just add a little bit in increments. So we have added some meat and fat and a little bit of seasoning. We're going to add a little more fat. For a little more meat, a little more fat, and more seasoning.
Just kind of keep alternating until we get a good combination, good mix up of the 2 different meats.
Have it all.
Yep. And then what we're looking for here is also the protein extraction. We talked about that in our last video a little bit. If you kind of look at the texture of the meat, it looks kind of fine and ground. But as he continues to mix here, and we trade out, you'll see here in just a second, we'll be able to show you the tackiness and the stickiness of the meat, and that'll be the protein extraction we're looking for. Once we get there, we'll be close to getting ready to put this in the casing.
And if anybody would like to sponsor us, we're looking for a new meat mixer that'll put to the
Take
grinder.
it all, yeah.
Man, it sure would be nice. We'd be kicked back drinking a refreshment right now.
Yeah.
While it does all the mixing.
I'm glad you got gloves on because that is very spicy seasoning, and that would probably burn for a couple days.
Waste none.
That's right. Wash your hands with a little pork fat. All right, so we've mixed for, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minutes, and now you can really see the texture of that meat change. If you see it gets real tacky and sticky, and that's the actual protein extraction. That's what we're looking for. So we are about finished the mixing portion of this process.
All right, so we're finally to the part now that we're going to be stuffing our casing with the seasoning, the meat that's already been seasoned. This is a 19 millimeter smoked collagen casing. Fits right over the small horn here on the sausage stuffer.
Which is a 17 millimeter horn, because you want your horn to be a little smaller than your sausage casing, so you don't have to sit there and load all that by hand, because it can be quite time consuming.
Yeah, and it comes packed just like that, a little bit longer. But they crimp it all up there. It slides right on. All right, Jay, send me some meat.
All right.
I'm just gonna pinch the end. So you want to pack it tight. All right, here it comes.
We've got 10 pounds of this mix loaded in our hopper, our sausage stuffer.
You can go a little faster. Okay. So you want to fill up the casing all the way, but if you go too hard, it will bust the casing. So you gotta find that happy medium. And as it stuffs the casing, it pulls it off. Each strand of this casing like that will hold about 9 pounds of raw meat.
All right, well, Jeff and I made it through an all-nighter. We got done about 3:30 this morning, and we got all of our product stuffed. It's been in the refrigerator while we took a quick nap, took a quick break, got some coffee, got the smoker set up. We wanted to show you the next step in our process here. So Jeff and I have built with some good friends of ours, we built a vertical smoker. We've converted an old hot box into a vertical smoker. It's propane powered. It's got electronic digital controls over here on the side, so we can take this all the way down as low as we want to go. We can probably go as low as 60 degrees, but the caveat is it's got a little port on the back where we can actually turn the propane burner off. We can cold smoke this by putting a pot on the back that has your heat source and your smoke source in it, so you could actually smoke cheese in this thing if you wanted to. But you could also take it all the way up to 300 degrees. You can smoke a butt, you do whatever you want. But the reason we designed this specifically was for jerky. We can stack this full of racks and get our jerky, or we can hang our snack sticks. So right now, if you can get a close-up in here, this is 50 pounds of snack sticks hanging in the vertical smoker. So we've got a couple different temperature probes in there, and we've got one on the back row, one in the middle. We'll put one in the front before we close up the door. And this is kind of the next process. So we're gonna close this up, we're gonna add some smoke, let these things get good and happy, and then we'll be back in the kitchen. We'll join you back and we will show you the final step, which is, of course, tasting and packaging.
All right, we're back in the kitchen. A few days ago you saw us cutting the meat, mixing it up, getting it stuffed into the casings. The next day was all about smoking, then we let it rest overnight in the refrigerator, and today is packaging day. On this one, we're using Cabela's with a zipper bag. It's like a Ziploc bag at the top. They're open at the bottom. Put the snack sticks in there, vacuum pack it on that side. Then when you go to open them, tear the top off. Then you've got a Ziploc bag to eat out of, if they make it to a second time. But we're packaging them up. So far, it's looking good. Putting 9 snack sticks in the packaging. So this time we used some labels. So you can also write on it with a Sharpie marker, but it works great.
All right, so once we're at the packaging, we're getting the labels put on. This is pretty much the end of the process, Jeff.
That's right. So we're packing them up. We're putting them in the food saver bags. Some of them will make it a couple of weeks. Some of them will make it a few months. But these food saver bags will keep them for years to come. I sure enjoy eating them. Dad, I think you do too. Like I said, we eat these year round. So limited deer season. So you got to get the meat when you can. So we're packing them up, keeping them safe in the freezer, and they'll be good all year.
You know the great part about processing? You get to take a cheap little sample of what you put together for the weekend. But a lot of elbow grease, a lot of midnight oil like we talked about before. It's not hard to do, it's just time consuming. So I think it's worth it to put one hard weekend in and do a big process, and you'll have great product for the year.
I hope you've learned something today watching this episode. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Maybe drop us a thumbs up. Thanks for checking us out. And as always, thanks for watching
JB Outdoors.